In this video, I will show an episode of Smallville that revolves around an election. Who are the candidates? Lex Luthor and Jonathan Kent are running for Kansas State Senate. By now we know that Trump is a Gemini, a twin spirit, so Trump is represented by Lex and Jonathan. So let's start with the Jonathan Kent side of things. Jonathan Kent is played by John Schneider, who is a Trump supporter in real life. So there is your Trump connection to Mr. Kent already. And in this scene, I will show he is wearing a red tie. Usually that is for Republicans, but Kent is playing the role of Democrat here, so why not have a blue tie? Here's the clip.
The courage to help all Kansans, whether they're rich or whether they're poor, and do my very best to put the heart back in the heartland.
Kent wants to help all Kansans, rich and poor. But let's complete that sentence. Revelation chapter 13 verse 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads. So what does that suggest in an episode that aired in 2005? Here we are in 2025, and we are that close to the mark. Will the mark come under Trump's second term? Right now, his cult members will do anything he says. He has their minds and their hearts, just like Kent said, by putting the heart back into the heartland. His followers are filled with pride right now, but their pride will deceive them. In the next clip, Lois Lane comments on Kent's business suit. Let's listen.
Sosnick had it all trucked up for Metropolis.
I keep expecting some mobster with a carnation to step out of the shadows and plug me.
A mobster, she says. I'm glad I didn't do a breakdown of this episode sooner. Recently, Trump posted an image of himself on his Truth Social. He portrayed himself as a mobster. His cult followers loved it, of course. Next to the T-Man is a sign. It has what I call a program word or phrase, FAFO. I won't say what that means. You may already know. A phrase like that can put someone into a state of tribalism or get people to accept their baser instincts. It programs people to exhibit certain behaviors. Then there is the smiley face, a representation of a biological event. Trump is telling us what is going to happen, but his supporters are still blind. Next clip.
You see, the reason somebody is going to vote for Mr. Kent is because they relate to him. And who is going to believe that he supports local farmers when he looks like some big business blowhard, no offense, Mr. Kent, who wants to buy them out?
Wait a minute. It says Jonathan Kent is quoted as saying it is possible to serve corporate interest and maintain the public welfare. I never said that.
I did.
Lois kind of says it in a roundabout way. The farmers do relate to Trump, even though he wears a business suit, even though his buddy Bill Gates is buying up lots of farmland. They still believe he will save America. And of course the businessmen support him and all the crypto people. And Trump is serving the corporate interests also. Most of his cabinet are billionaires. This is how he tells people he will serve the public welfare, make America great again. So on the other side, what about Lex Luthor? Well, let's play a couple of clips.
Regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. Look on them as your own beloved sons.
And they will stand by you even unto death. You know, you really don't have to quote The Art of War to me, Dad.
But it looks as though your disciples tried to follow in your footsteps. They have succeeded in creating quite a mess. How does it feel, Lex, to have people worship you?
Being the idol for a cult of psychopaths isn't exactly a power trip, Dad.
My, The Art of War, a book written by a Chinese general. Is that what inspired Trump's book, The Art of the Deal? His followers will follow him unto death, won't they? As long as it's in the name of making America great, they will sacrifice themselves for their Luciferian king. In years past, people have compared Trump's tactics to the art of war. Oddly enough, in this article, George Burns was mentioned. Older people will know who he is. He starred in the movies Oh God and Oh God Book 2 and Oh God, You Devil. George Burns was born on January 20th, 1896. He was born on Inauguration Day. In the article, George Burns is stated as saying, "It's too bad. The people who understand what the country really needs are too busy cutting hair and driving taxis to do anything about it," citing that's who Trump appealed to. But back to Smallville. Even Lex refers to some of his followers as cult members, and his followers have helped in creating a mess, just like the lefties. Both sides are helping to build our digital prison. Both sides have their cult followings. Do you think Trump knows that people worship him? Do you think he thinks of them as a cult? But let's delve into more of Lex's side of the election.
Thucydides said, "We are either kings among men
or the pawns of kings. The fact that you're here demonstrates that you strive for the former."
Kings or pawns, which will it be? Notice there's no in between. Next clip.
Samantha Drake, president of Students for Lex Luthor.
Samantha Drake is the president of his student election group. Drake has a double meaning, doesn't it? Drake could be Draco or Dragon, and backwards it is e-card or electronic card. The next clip will foreshadow something today.
Used to wear a cross.
Lex's student president, Miss Drake, says she used to wear a cross. As you can see, it is now a necklace with the name Lex. Well, this is the X, isn't it? She turned her cross into an X. It's all about the X. And since she is such a devout follower of Lex, she and a couple of her student friends decide to scare Kent out of the race.
Are you the guy that's been calling me? You stay away from me and my family. Oh! God!
So they lure him out and hit him with a bat. Remember, Kent represents Trump also, so they literally connected a bat to the Trump character. Trump has called himself Batman before, and when the 2020 biological event happened, some thought it started because of a bat. So the next scene is at the Smallville hospital, and Lex and Clark exchange words. Well, if you remember my Apollo Lucifer videos, this is where that scene came from.
Lex, why is some state senate seats so important to you?
it's a stepping stone.
To what?
It's like Apollo asking Icarus why he's building wings.
And Lex says it's like Apollo asking Icarus why he's building wings. When he says this, there is a window with a cross with a sun on top. Make of that what you will. And what does Lex say he will do when he realizes the Senate will not satisfy him?
What if you don't win? What if you get to the Capitol and realize you still haven't found what you're looking for?
Oh, there's always the White House.
There's always the White House. Lex for president. Lex and Jonathan Kent are two sides of the same coin, gaining support from farmers and businessmen alike, helping Kansans, rich and poor. In the next scene, Samantha Drake and her two partners in crime have a falling out. She still wants to stop Jonathan Kent, but the other two decide it's time to stop. They don't want to go too extreme. So what does she do? She shoots them both, 2 shots, kind of like at the beginning of the 2020 event. But I also think this is a reference to 2 biological events. What also crosses my mind when I see these 3? Jesus and the two thieves at the cross. Why? Remember, she turned her necklace from a cross into an X. She believes she will save Lex's campaign by getting rid of the two thieves. She believes they will steal their victory away if they don't help. Now the next scene I thought was amazing. It foreshadowed a future event at the Oscars. See if you recognize it. The man in the mirror. We've seen this before. While looking into the mirror, it's as if she becomes possessed. The evil twin spirit coming through the mirror. Note how she slaps herself before she begins to shave her head. Just like at the Oscars when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock over remarks about a woman with alopecia. When Samantha first shaves her head, it looks like someone who has alopecia. Some people lost their hair after being injected. Is this where the twin spirit will come from also? Next scene.
I didn't recognize you for a moment. I would never condone what happened to Mr. Kent.
Of course not. You've got to distance yourself.
Samantha Drake has now become Lex Luthor's evil twin, his doppelganger. She will do his evil deeds so he won't have to get his hands dirty. Trump likes to keep his hands clean, doesn't he? So what is the Lex doppelganger willing to do? Let's see.
Thank you, really, thank you. Thank you all
Excuse me.
very much for coming out here this evening. Quite sure that the important thing is
Hey.
come out and listen to some farmers talk about the important.
Wow, the Lex twin was even wearing a red cap, just like the red cap we have all become familiar with over the past few years. Instead of having Make America Great Again on it, it had Vote Kent. Again, this is from 2005. They knew then the red hat would be a symbol. Another reason why Jonathan Kent represents Trump. The Kent hats are like the MAGA hats. The actor actually supports Trump now in present day. The next clip will say something about Trump's first rifle event.
You are not going to shoot Jonathan Kent.
You're right.
You are.
The Lex doppelganger says Lois is going to shoot Kent. Well, remember, they got that young man somehow to climb on a roof with a rifle. They blamed him. The fall guy was killed by agents. He was shot himself, kind of like Samantha is pointing a gun at Lois. There's been talk lately about the Burning Man festival. The burning of man. Well, the one person who died in the stands at the rally was a fireman. The Burning Man. But in Smallville, the story ends differently. Remember, the fall guy for the rifle event in Pennsylvania was a conservative, we are told. So the Lex twin with the red hat takes the shot. But there is something else in the next scene you may take notice of. Watch the bullet. The red balloon. The bullet pierces the red balloon. The arrow pierces the red balloon. The syringe and the biological event. The it and the red balloon. In this story, Kent's right ear doesn't get splashed with a blood capsule. However, he is saved by Superman. Remember my previous videos where I connected Superman to Apollo and Lucifer? So here we have Lucifer saving Trump. In this episode, there's a scene where Lois and Jonathan Kent are talking. Behind them are 3 sons. What do you make of that? This is the same room where the Lex twin knocks out Lois. There's another scene where Superman finds the bodies of Samantha's partners. They're laid out with a picture of Lex's face over theirs, with a strand of her blonde hair. I'm not sure what to make of this scene either. This next image is from the intro theme. You can see Superman in the phone booth. The color scheme is red and blue. You can see he has a diamond with an 8 in it. Remember my previous video where I said diamond needles are used in record players, that they transmit sound, the needle transmitting frequencies? Well, here they have a version of the Ouroboros in it, the time loop. Also in the intro theme, the A and the I are highlighted in the Smallville logo. That's AI. Well, that's all for this video. I hope this helps people realize we live in a staged reality. So let's keep Jesus in our heart.